Sort of on the same lines as the mental side of things, I've had Logan Gilbert on the show last year. He was on, and he
I'm
talked a lot
sorry.
about how the truth meetings that you guys used to have in the minors helped him big time. And it's basically just pitcher and catcher getting together and telling each other like it is. So how did those come to be? Did you start those?
Yeah, we had a pitching coach, Rob Marcello. He's the Padres pitching coordinator now, and he was our I believe it was his first minor league job as well. So we were kind of all in it together. We were really tight. We got really close that year in Modesto. Not a lot to do in Modesto, California. So we were at the field a bunch, kind of hanging out after games, talking shop. And he was very blunt and honest guy, and we kind of went at it one night, kind of at first it's kind of jokingly, then we kind of got a little serious
Mhm.
about how I saw things as a catcher, how he saw things as a pitcher. And you know we were just honest with each other. We were being honest, and kind of you know things I didn't like what he was doing, what he didn't like I was doing or calling, how I was calling the
Yeah.
game. And we kind of hashed it out, and it was great for us. It got us a lot closer, and I think that trust factor came into play. And now we've been doing it for 4 years now, and we're roommates all going up, and it was awesome for us.
Do you remember of all of them the hardest conversation that you had to have?
um I don't know. It's tough when, like, when you're close with a guy like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier when you're distant from a guy, because you can
Yeah.
just be honest, because you don't really, you guys don't have that kind of tight relationship, and those emotions and feelings don't get in the way. And with Logan, obviously we're really tight. I was in his wedding, so sometimes it was hard to have those conversations.
Yeah.
But I remember that one of them was just like, happened to be throwing inside, and at the time, Logan didn't. He just wants to throw a slider. He wants to throw his nasty stuff. And I'm like, you gotta throw inside. I'm like, when you get up there, like, you're going to throw in every once in a while, try to get hitters off of your soft stuff. And at the time, he didn't agree. And um, I remember multiple times now where we have had to go inside. So
Speaking of Logan, he's an absolute stud out on the mound, and now you catch a rotation that's full of studs. I mean, the whole rotation is dominant and nasty, and Luis Castillo added to the bunch. So, what has it been like for you personally to be able to catch a group of guys that are so good?
it's unbelievable catching some of these guys. Just with the stuff and command they have is super impressive. And how different they are. They're obviously great to catch, and they're nasty, but how different, how they approach the game, how they like to how they throw their pitches, how they like to kind of manage a game. It's fun to kind of just watch back there. And it's been a great time. And obviously adding Castillo last year was huge for us, and kind of see how these guys have evolved. George Kirby adding a two seam. Logan, added a splitter this offseason, and changed the slider shape a little bit. It's really cool to see, and kind of see how they're evolving, and seeing kind of what the game is telling them to do. And how they're approaching it.
Luis Castillo was the best pitcher available last year at the trade deadline. You guys end up getting him, and since he's come to Seattle, I think he was one of the more underrated pitchers before he came there. He's just with the Reds, which aren't the biggest team in the world. He ends up going to Seattle, and since he's been there, including this year, there's an argument for him having been the best pitcher in baseball in that stretch. What makes him so good?
I mean, he's got four elite pitches that he can throw at any time to a lefty or righty, and they go in four different directions. You got four seam that rides. You got the two seam sinker that runs and goes down. You got the slider that goes across, and changeup goes straight down. I mean, it's just like, as a catcher, it's like, do I even need the game plan? I mean, he's got that kind of stuff. I'm being serious. It's crazy. You sit back there, you do scouting reports, you watch video, you obviously have the analytics stuff in front of you, and you're like, I mean, this guy, he doesn't even need all this. He can just throw whatever he wants, and he can mix all four all game, and it's going to be a tough AB, because when he's mid to upper 90s with two different fastballs that are you know well located and doing completely different things, it's tough to square up.